My name is Clare McQuillan and I'm a writer. After I'd been working as a theatre producer for a few years, I got a job as an assistant to Steve McQueen, the director, and he had a TV show in New York that with HBO, and they had opened a writer's room, so he wanted me to go there to work on that. So I moved to New York and I spent 6 months in the writer's room for that show, which was called Codes of Conduct, and that was really my big education in writing for television. The showrunner for that show was Semi Chellis, and she'd come from Mad Men, and she's just a genius anyway, but she was the most generous, I think, teacher and boss I could have ever had, and I just tried to learn as much as possible from her. Impulse really is a coming-of-age story about a 15-year-old girl, and she is sexually assaulted one day by her classmate. She teleports out of the car that the attack is happening in, and she finds herself back in her bedroom, so it's got a kind of grounded sci-fi element. I'd never done any kind of sci-fi before, and this is very grounded. The only element that's different from the real world is the element of teleportation, which is obviously a big element of difference to our real world.
Where'd she go?
I don't know.
It allowed us to explore a really big, pertinent issue that something certainly that I've explored in other areas of my work, other pieces that I've written. I'm really interested in female characters, particularly women who for some reason might find themselves at the edge of something, whether that's the edge of a culture or a community, maybe because they've done something transgressive. And I think because originally I learned from US TV, I really love the scale that they often have there, and that scope to tell big stories, sometimes in big landscapes or big places. So Bafta, I knew, is a really prestigious organisation and has a kind of big presence in Britain and in our industry. I also think that it's really important, because being a writer is quite solitary, particularly in the UK, where we do have rooms now and that's growing, but it's smaller and smaller scale. You can often find yourself, working alone a lot, and community is so important. It's really important to have people who understand what it is to do the work that you're trying to do and what it is to have the job that you have in the industry that you work in. I hope that I can continue to grow and find a space to do the work that I really want to do and to tell the stories that I really want to tell. And I don't have any bigger or more defined ambitions than that, because I think if you are able to do that, that really is success. As storytellers, we all have something different and we all have something unique to bring. And it still feels like the industry hasn't quite grasped that, because if it had, there wouldn't be a need for a scheme to help people who are, for whatever reason, somewhat or very underrepresented. My hope going forward is that there will be no more need for schemes, and that eventually platforms like this one will allow more of a diverse group of writers at every single level of the industry. Are you hearing the most interesting voices, the freshest voices that are telling us stories that we may not have heard yet? Ask yourself, am I doing that? And am I, through my work, being honest about the diversity of human experience? And if you're not, think about how you might and who you might collaborate with to give you that kind of work.